Bomb Squad. Today we're covering a very special movie that was such a mesh. It was such a mesh that it made it. John Carpenter, the director, called this movie a piece of shit. What movie am I talking about? Find out when we come back from the Bomb Squad. Thank you so much for joining us on the Bomb Squad. Please give a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to support our channel, other than that, the best way to do it right now is to watch our movies. We have the boxing documentary Humble Spirits. We have the Mexploitation thriller Borderland about missing cartel money. Those movies are both on Tubi. Also on Tubi and Screambox, you can watch the zombie drama, The Last Ones, and of course, The Empty Space, a cosmic horror about grief and loneliness. We hope you enjoy those movies. Tell us what you think if you do watch them. And of course, you can always follow my other YouTube page, which is my shorts page, to see some short films, or just join us here. Thank you so much again, and please keep supporting the channel. Also, someone we got a comment that someone was like, hey, I don't like your cat ears. Well, it's like, hey, buddy, if you want to buy me replacement headphones because my other one's broke, you're more than welcome to. I am going to get new headphones. I just keep forgetting. But yeah, cat ears stay on until that time.
That's movie memorabilia. You just don't know what movie yet.
Yeah, you guys don't realize that I'm actually wearing a piece of cinema history.
Yeah, they're going to be sent to Movie Madness in Portland to be put behind a glass wall. Yeah. He's just keeping them safe.
The Bomb Squad / secret movie props.
Yeah.
And speaking of secret movies that no one should watch yet, we're talking about 2001. We cover a lot of 2001 movies. I wonder what happened that made that such an important year in the three of our lives. 2001's Ghost of Mars, directed by John Carpenter, written by Larry Sulkis and John Carpenter, starring Natasha Henstridge, Ice Cube, and some secret surprises that we'll get to. We'll get to them as they were revealed to us in a dream. But yes, so what's Ghost of Mars about? It's not really about anything, to be honest. So Ghost of Mars in the year
of our Lord
176, very close. A Martian police, there's like a trial, and they're trying to find out what happened to this colony. And so we're hearing the story of what happened to this colony that was housing an ex-criminal. The criminal is gone or dead, or they don't know what happened to him. So this female reporter, or this female cop played by Natasha Henstridge, is relaying her story, and that's what the movie is. She plays Lieutenant Melanie Ballard. What a good
interesting name.
What a good name. And
JG, I must be the inspiration.
Also, this is a good thing about the movie. This movie, well, let me give you some trivia first. Let's get into some trivia.
You're like, why did they make this? What happened?
Yeah, one of the things is that John Carpenter said he intentionally made it very over the top, but we'll talk about it. And yes, this movie did cause John Carpenter to make the decision to leave Hollywood for good. And so it's not another 9 years until he makes The Ward, which is his last film ever. Also, a hilarious thing that kind of shows you what a rough movie this was is that it was going to star Courtney Love. She broke her foot, so then they hired Natasha Henstridge literally 2 days before they were supposed to shoot. And so she had to learn all that. Also, the movie is told all in flashbacks, kind of like Rushman style.
Yeah, just from one perspective,
That was not how the script was written. It was written linear, and it wasn't.
You can tell, yeah. There's no good transition between the
framing device
and everything else. Yeah,
and we're gonna talk about Natasha Henstridge's acting, but I want you to keep this in mind before that. Carpenter himself said that he should have directed her better. He responded, "There was a basketball game on television, and I wanted to get out of there." And I just want to point out that when you make a movie, John, you should know this. It's not just one night. So even if there was said basketball game, you could have hey, let's call it. Let's come back tomorrow.
Right. Give me a couple of hours. I'll call you.
Yeah. And also another thing, and we'll talk about this as we'll get to this later. But there was so this movie, as I said, it's about an ex-con they're on Mars. He has to escape from a colony, and so there's an ongoing rumor that it was originally the third Snake Plissken film, and this was going to be Escape from New York, Escape from L.A. And the original title for the third Snake Plissken was going to be called Escape from Earth. So it's not a big leap to think that this might have been the third Snake Plissken thing, but that is not what John Carpenter said. One time, someone asked him, and he said, "Oh, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, let's go with that." So he did not. He did not try to do this. Okay,
his classic dismissal.
So that's a lot of trivia. This movie has. And then Natasha Hendrich also said that John Carpenter would come to set every day and say that this was the biggest piece of shit he ever made. So a real good working environment.
He was just rolling in, not wanting to do this.
I mean, I didn't think it was the worst thing I've ever seen.
I know, it's not that. Well, here's my first piece of trivia as we get into the actual movie. So this movie actually takes, like, we live in a patriarchy, which is where men have set all the rules. Thanks a lot, Josh. But this movie takes place in a female-led civilization, a monarchy. What is it called?
A matriarchy.
Matriarchy. Yeah. William's smarter than I am. And I do want to say that does not even matter.
No, it does, like, in like one scene. Like, Pam Grier's character is the only thing affected by the matriarchy. Yeah. Everything else doesn't matter.
And if anything, it's like, wait, this is a matriarchy? Why do the guys suck? And so this starts off, there's a trial, and they're like, we want to know what happened to this colony. And so it's Natasha Hendrich kind of like relaying what happened, and then we cut into flashbacks. And that's not the only flashback. So this movie does do Rashomon style, where it'll like, we'll follow a character, and then we'll flash back, and then we'll follow another character who went off in another direction. And like, again, I'm watching a show right now called The Girlfriend, and it does the same thing where it shows one point of view and then the other point of view. But here's the thing in The Girlfriend is that they'll be like, oh, here's something else that happened that kind of will relate to the other parts later.
Contextualize it.
In Ghost of Mars, they're like, isn't that cool that he went and got killed? No? All right, well, whatever.
Right.
So what did you guys...
There's all kinds of stuff that she couldn't have even known either, like in like the or things that she wouldn't disclose.
And I think like, to me, and it's so funny because it's the idea of a Rashomon horror film where we're following one character and then we like zoom back and follow the other character. That's actually a pretty cool idea. I feel like that's completely undermined by the fact that, like William said, she's telling the story. So how did she know what this character did? Or is she just making stuff up?
There's one point where one of her teammates leaves and he's in a flashback. He meets more guys. They give their own flashback inside of his flashback.
Okay. And let me just... Okay, well, let's get into... I want to talk about one of the funniest flashbacks.
We should talk about
not just in this movie, but in all of cinema of all time. So let's get into it. They're on Mars. I will say, score, perfect. Dude, good job, Carpenter.
This whole movie is about to be Down with the Sickness by Disturbed.
Yeah, it is, and
it never quite is, but it's like as badass, like just the whole time.
I feel like in between shooting, John Carpenter was just playing NBA Live on a GameCube and listening to Korn and Limp Bizkit like the whole time. Because
like, add this in there, get this in there.
So they're like, tell us the story, and she's like, I'm gonna tell you, and then it cuts to like a train coming, and the music's like dun 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 dun. I was like, hell yeah!
And then like
And then also, I hope you're ready for endless scenes of just exposition, because that's all this movie is. Natasha Hendrich, she's on the train that's heading to this place. They're gonna go pick up a prisoner. They're gonna go pick up, and then she she takes drugs on the way to her job. Hey,
called Clear.
Come on,
it's
lady.
called Clear.
You do it after you get off of work, not before. And Pam Grier, who's playing Pam Grier's in this movie. It's also like, oh, Pam Grier and John Carpenter for the first time together, and then you're like, oh, okay, well,
this is what they did.
Bye, Pam Grier. We'll talk about what happens to her, and then so she plays like the chief or whatever, and she's like, and then she starts off by hitting on Natasha Hendrich after telling her she's her superior, because she's like, I always knew you liked the wrong type of guys. Too bad. too bad you like guys.
Yeah.
Okay,
she
man, we
a
get
straight joke. She says like, you can give it to me straight,
Yeah.
and she's like, yeah, I always give it to people straight, and she's
that's
like,
right.
too
And then
bad.
she goes, too bad. And then she like licks her lips.
It's
and
still
then
the military, so you're still gonna be.
you're still gonna be sick.
Yeah.
Well, are they the
Yeah.
military? I think they're like
cops.
I thought they were cops. They just dress like Nazis.
They're like
Yes.
military police, kind of. It's
kind.
vague.
Yeah, I guess it's
Yeah.
that thing where it's like they're at an outpost, so it's kind of a mix of both. And so she
Right.
meets all of them. She meets the girl who's played really well by Clea Duvall.
Yeah.
Been in
She's always
a
pretty
bunch of-
solid.
Yeah, she's pretty good. It's kind of
Yeah.
funny because this is 2001, kind of after she had established herself. But she's kind of like Zendaya a little bit now. Where it's like she's always kind of playing someone younger than her, you know?
Yeah.
Because she's very much like the rookie cop.
Yeah.
And then this also stars some random British guy that no one cares about. But then it also stars someone who's actually supposed. So they're on their way to go pick up this bad criminal. His name is Desolation Williams. And
Great
originally, Desolation Williams is played by the character who would eventually become Jericho Butler, who's played by the greatest living actor of all time, Jason Statham, is in this movie. This is the first time. I'll tell you, I saw this movie in theaters, and so this was my introduction to Jason Statham. And I'll tell you, we'll get into it at the end about the casting choices, but I will say he probably would have been a better Desolation Williams. That he's playing like the stereotypical, like cornball horn dog cop.
Yeah, the kind
but
of partner.
There's two things wrong with it. The first thing is that like you wouldn't think like you could get away with saying this to your superior in a woman-led society. Like you'd think they'd kind of like have washed that out. That's why we say it doesn't really matter, because like everything she says, and I was gonna say at the beginning, but throughout the whole movie, everything she says to Jason Statham is replied to as a drug or as a sexual
Innuendo.
like he'll be like, hey, can you get me that water? And he's like, oh yeah, I can get you wet if that's what you want.
Yeah.
And it's like, no,
just nonstop, just like constantly. Yeah.
We should say too, he has hair, the rare.
He does have hair.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
no, but that's true about the matriarch thing though. It's like the only part of the movie that really has anything to do with is the fact that Pam Grier is the boss, and like there could be a female boss in any movie that's even patriarchal.
Also,
so it was like there was like this big theme was going to happen.
Or the normal military could have a female boss,
right?
And like
not now.
John Carpenter said that he was he said that he did it so that there wouldn't be any question about why like Pam Grier and Natasha Henstridge had such high-ranking roles. But let me tell you two things, John Carpenter. First, nobody's asking that question in Ghost of Mars. And second,
or past 1965.
It's 2001. It's not 1975. What are you talking about?
Like
there's so many women.
He's like, I had to write in why the women wear pants.
In 2001, Hillary actually thought she had a chance to win the presidency. That's how progressed we were. But here, and so going back to Jason Statham, the second problem with Jason Statham, he's just too damn charming for this role. Like he's supposed to be an asshole bad guy, but and even John Carpenter kind of admits it, because like the whole thing, you know, the whole point of this character is he's supposed to be like, oh, I don't respect women and I treat them like objects and blah blah blah. But he's so charming that halfway through the movie, for no reason, him and Natasha Henstridge just hook up because
yeah,
she falls
like
for his
joking.
That's such a funny. Like he's like, hey, I figure we might as well. And she's like, all right, dude. It's like, oh.
Well, yeah, he is joking when he tells her stuff, but it's like that. It's kind of like if Quagmire got a love interest. It's like, no, that's not the way this is supposed to go. Like it's supposed to
Like if they wanted to explore the harassment aspect on like the whole matriarchal society, like that was rife with like potential. But yeah, it just kind of comes off being like action film romance where everyone's doing this banter and it's actually cool.
Yeah.
Which like just doesn't make any sense thematically for the matriarchal thing. That was crazy to me.
Right. Yeah, see, and then like, okay, so they're getting to this penal camp. And this is an example, I wrote it down, is that Natasha Henstridge, like she looks out and she goes, sounds nasty, but you seem to be holding up pretty well. And then Jason Statham replies, yeah, I have many hidden talents. It's like, she can't even give him a compliment without him sexually harassing her. And it just like, and I will say, I do think that he would have been. So then they like start exploring because the whole camp is gone. And this is the scene I wanted to talk about because it's my favorite scene in the whole movie. So they're like walking through and there's nobody there. And they find out that the train is going to come. They got to turn around somewhere and come back. Why the train? Like it's when I say train in Mars, I don't mean like a flying train that looks like a train.
Right.
I mean, it's a little train on tracks.
Yeah.
So they have to go down the road, turn around at the depot and come back. It's going to take about 4 hours. And
I don't
so
even
they gotta
remember
go.
that. I just watched this movie yesterday.
I just remember because I'm always like, where does a train go?
Right.
And so they start walking through the camp and it's completely empty. And then Natasha Hendridge, after she gets sexually harassed by Jason Statham, they're like looking out. Oh, and then here's another funny thing. They kind of talk about how if you sign up for a year on Mars, the company tricks you and it's actually 2 years because like
2 years,
they say 1 year, but they mean 1 year on Mars, which is 2 years of the Earth's rotation.
Right.
Which is just like a funny little like, oh, even in the future, everyone screws you.
Right.
But, so they're looking out at the camp. And Natasha Hendricks goes, Friday night, camp like this, there's this whole block should be busy with people.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to her looking out at the thing. And then it fades into the town now filled with people. And then she's like, there's money to burn, prostitutes to have sex with, and something else that's bad. And then it fades back into the empty yard. It's like, you didn't have to show us what a busy town square was we could have made that, and I feel like
they like shot that and they're like, well, we have to use it somewhere or something. I don't know. It feels like a deleted scene. Yeah.
It is very like also, and then I'll also say this is that one of the problems with this movie is that they kind of every single character in this movie talks like Snake Plissken. Like from
it's all one-liners and everything.
Yeah, from Pam Grier to Natasha Hendricks, and like you can't
even
really...
kind of the judge a little bit.
Yeah. Even like when they're just, it's kind of the same thing that happened with the Running Man, where every line that Arnold says is a one-liner. It's the same thing, except every single person is doing it, and you're like, but why?
This is the most, because this is the most pronounced, so this is probably the most, like, jarring instance of that, like, everyone talking like Snake Plissken when they get there, and because they only find 3 people in the jail. They find 3 people alive, and 2 are just whatever, they're criminals. And the third is this science officer who's so disaffected, she's like, I'm trying to get some sleep. Keep it down.
And but it's the only place it's safe. Anyways, bye.
But she's not like hardened enough to where that makes sense. She should be like, no, let's get out of here right now. You know what I mean?
And also, once we find out her backstory, it makes even less sense why she's so nonchalant.
Yeah, like...
And I guess, like...
She should be like, oh, let's 3 literally get on the train now. We're out. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, like she should. It should be like if we've seen Starship Troopers, which apparently Verhoeven is just our base for any genre film.
We've been watching a lot of Verhoeven adjacent stuff lately. To be fair,
when they go to they go to the camp that's been overrun by bugs. Like the guy they find in there, he's like, "We need to get out of here!" Like he's so scared that he's like annoying. Where this one, she's like should be that scared, but she's like, "Ugh. Cops, I'm going to bed." It's like, you're not even a criminal. Why are you so like you should be like
she's not even a badass either. She's not even like she doesn't like, spoiler alert, she doesn't rescue them like very well. She's not like a hard
she doesn't do like she just tells them, oh, by the way, I found something really bad, but it's like, again, there's no reason she should be this jaded about it, or like fatalistic, because it's like they're not in a situation yet where it's like we're all gonna die. Nor does she think that. I don't know. It's such a weird.
I mean, she seemed also kind of like drugs in this society are kind of like on like a Philip K. Dick level, it seems. So I also thought maybe she was like super high because she's also like very cool. Yeah. Like, so there's that. Like, there's kind of, like rampant casual chill drug use in this movie.
And then her because her backstory is that she was in a weather balloon, which again, it's like, wait, because they've explained.
I love that
they've
scene
explained
so much.
That's a cool scene, though.
The Mars has been terraformed, but it's very you also have to wrap your head around it. So she's in a weather balloon, and I will say that Carpenter also does this in Escape from LA, where it shows her in the weather balloon, and it's the worst CGI you've ever seen. It's YouTube style CGI, and she's like, "Whoa!" and then the narration is like, "Oh, and then I ran into some wind, and they put me in the windmills, and it cut up my balloon." And it shows her jumping from the balloon, and it shows the balloon explode in the hugest explosion.
And she's in the explosion.
Yeah.
She should be dead.
She should be dead, and it's also wait, you built a weather balloon that you've been traveling across Mars, which has huge dust storms. It's the only thing anyone knows about Mars, and you didn't figure out a way to combat the wind because
also just
seemed all right.
I like that they terraform Mars, and it's kind of futuristic, but it's almost like the futuristic early 1900s, where it's trains and weather balloons.
It looks like a Star
Trek. She doesn't have
a
hovercraft.
Yeah,
it really does. I do I want to just. There's a part where they're like, "Hey, so I'm reading the script. It says weather balloon. Do you mean a spaceship that looks like a weather balloon?" And I just gets to Carpenter, and he's like, "No, it's a weather balloon." He's playing a video game. Get out of here! Get out of here until call time. And so she's in a weather balloon, which again, and she's like, "Oh yeah," and I came and everyone was dead and killing each other. It's so why aren't you freaked out? You should be freaked out all the time,
right?
Always.
Yeah.
And so then they go meet Desolation Williams, and here's another thing. It's so funny because Carpenter, you know him from building tension, building suspense. And so Natasha Hendricks and Jason Statham are going to see Ice Cube, who's playing Desolation Williams. And it cuts to them opening the door, and then it crossfades to them a little bit closer to the cell. And then it crossfades to them at the cell door, and then they're like, "What's going on, Williams?" And it's why did you crossfade 3 times?
It's they were walking so slow, man. This is all I can figure out.
You can tell. Yeah, Carpenter really was smoking a lot of weed during this one because he's like, "Nah, they're walking too slow, man. We gotta hurry, speed it up."
Everyone's gonna get so bored.
Which I also feel
what's going on.
Cutting between them makes that scene way longer. Where you could have even started with them just over Desolation Williams.
Right. Yeah. Just cut to Ice Cube and then have them walk into frame. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. There's a lot of baffling choices like that.
Yeah.
And so then they go out and they this is another weird scene because they know something's wrong now because they go into a room and there's a bunch of dead bodies, and it's also it's such a weird I don't want to we already said that Natasha Hendricks, Carpenter himself said he should have directed her better, but she's so bad in this. There's a part where her and Jason Statham are walking, they see a building and the lights are flickering on and off. And then
the voltage,
yeah. He's like, "Oh, there's probably a voltage break. That's why that's happening." And she's like, "All right, cool." And then she looks at it and she's like, "Actually, we should go check it out." And it's you should have gone to check it out both times because you don't want voltage just going crazy on your space prison or whatever.
And then also where no one's alive. Or around.
This is a movie where the actors are discovering the plot for the first time as they're filming it.
She should have been
we should check this.
She should have been "Oh shit, nah, we'll check that out later." And then she's like, "Let's go." But it's it's she does that, but she's like, "Okay, let's go." It's who are you disagreeing with? You're disagreeing with yourself. And then they find a bunch of, they don't find anything. They just find blood and hands and stuff, and then that's when
just some severed hands.
Yeah, just some severed hands. I feel on Mars that's just par for the course.
Yeah, they show that hand a lot, then 4 times.
Yeah, well, and then everything's cut like a corn video as well, so you get flashes to things.
Yeah,
and we haven't even talked to the actual corn video that plays later on in the movie. And so then they get to, it's her and Pam Grier, and they're kind of walking. And they get to some kind of like vehicle, and there's a dude in there, and he's like, don't come closer, and they're like, let's get him out of there.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's
Trust
real
me.
bad. And Pam Grier's like shooting the back, and she's like, I'm gonna get him. And I'm like, are you guys trying to kill yourselves? Is that the plot of this movie?
Right.
You haven't told us
he wasn't
yet?
threatening them with a gun. He was like, clearly giving them a message. There was no confusion about what was going on.
Yeah. So then, because they won't stop trying to get in, he like stabs himself, and he starts to kill himself. And then they're like, well, now we definitely got to get in. And so Pam Grier, she hears something, and she goes off. And then Jason Statham comes, and they're like, hey, can you open this door? And Jason Statham's like, it's gonna be hard because he's really locked himself in there, almost like he didn't want anyone to go, like everything he's been saying.
Right.
But I can do it. It's just gonna take me 30 minutes. And she's like, okay, do it. It's like, why? Why are you like, if anything else, he's a dangerous individual that you don't know his backstory. Maybe just leave him in there for a little bit and don't try to kill him. But then they realize Pam Grier's missing, and he's like, go look at Pam Grier. I'm going to go off somewhere else and do something else. And Jason Statham's like, okay. And so this is the first time we saw Pam Grier. This was another thing. So when they first get there, when they go to look at the power like flickering on and off. Also, I'm realizing now that the structure of this film makes it very hard to remember what the order of events is.
Yeah, I had a hard time following a lot of the plots.
It's such a blend, and you'll be like, wait, what? Oh,
because
okay.
When they see the flickering lights, they're like, oh, Jason Statham and Natasha Henstridge are going to go check it out. And then they're like, oh, Pam Grier is going to go check out something else. And then when we get Pam Grier's, then they cut back and they're like, oh, we'll see you guys later. And then it cuts to Pam Grier, and she just kind of walks around. And then she comes back. Like, nothing of note happens in Pam Grier's section of it until later. And it's like, why did you even show us that section? Right. But anyway, so then Jason Statham goes off to try to find out where Pam Grier is. And then that's when Natasha Henstridge goes and she finds Clea Duvall is like holding a gun at a door. And again, there's like someone banging on the door, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you.
Yes. Yeah.
And this is how she's like, and remember, she's a rookie. It's like her second day, and she's like,
she is nonchalant.
She's like texting
that
on
doctor
her phone.
Didn't see that there, so I guess I'm okay. Yeah.
She's like, I'm playing Flappy Bird. It's like, how do you even know that game exists, John Carpenter? It's 2001.
Kept knocking on them back.
Yeah. So then that's when they fight their first mutant. So what's happened is, because when that guy kills himself, we see like a little spore come out, but we don't know what happened. So what we finally find out is that the whole colony has been taken over by this kind of alien that is small as dust, and it'll take over your brain and turn you into.
Right. I would describe it as a ghost of Mars.
Kind of a ghost of Mars. It is a ghost.
Like, you're not a zombie. But
it kind of turns you the Reavers from Firefly. It's kind of like you're that where you're a human, but you like mutilate yourself and go crazy,
and you're a monster. Yeah. Another funny thing is that, well, we'll talk about it in a second. So then they kill him, but when you shoot him, like the ghost will explode or it'll come out, and he can take over another body. So they don't. Yeah. Apparently, the only way you can kill him is by burning him, kind of, maybe sometimes. John Carpenter hasn't figured it out, but once he does,
it is vague.
Once he figures out how to kill them, he will get back to us. Once he figures out how to kill them,
he's not
he made 30 years ago.
He
is almost done with Red Dead Redemption 2. So
because sometimes when they kill something, the ghost is an immediate threat. Sometimes they kill a lot of them, and the ghost just never shows up.
Nothing
so
right.
And also, like,
it doesn't really.
Let me be clear. When they kill someone, the ghost picks, because they'll literally show the ghost like in ghost vision, and it'll go to one person like Josh, and then it'll say nah, and then it'll go to another person, and then it'll pick the third person. It's like, why are you what? And it'll be like, should I pick Ice Cube, the Super Jack guy? Should I pick the Super Jack lady? Nah, let me pick this old weather balloon person. That doesn't happen until later, but it does eventually.
Earlier about like the judge, like, so this is all taking place in a flashback, and this is a detail that like she would have no idea. Like, did she explain this to the judge? Did she tell the judge that she was taking drugs before they got to their mission? Like, what is the story she's telling to the judge? And are we only
the judge should
privy
be
to
like,
that?
well, and also
Kill
they're
this
also
woman
like,
now.
Pam Grier's like, hey, don't take drugs, and she's like, it'll be gone by the time we get to the station, and she's like, oh, okay,
Yeah, I can
fine.
handle
And I'm
my
like,
shit.
so what is the drug policy in this military corps?
That's such a
Right.
that's such a cokehead move, though. It's like, no, I'll snort it all before we're at work. That's fine.
It's good.
Yeah,
Dude.
that's not a cokehead move. That's just called smart planning, Josh.
And I mean, the drug makes her look at a necklace, and the necklace hallucinates like in front of her. Like,
okay,
it's a trippy drug.
Here's the funny thing for Bomb Squad fans. So she has a necklace, and when she looks at it, it turns 3D, and it kind of comes out at her. And it looks exactly like our very first episode. It looks like the demons from Freddy's Dead.
They come out of his body when Freddy is killed.
So I'm glad that you guys watched Freddy's Dead, because now, 3 years later, there's a connective tissue to it. That this thing kind of looks like it a little bit. So, well, and then, okay, so now they know, and then it cuts to Jason Statham, and he comes back, and they're like, hey, what happened? And he's like, let me tell you my story. Have you had enough flashbacks? Well, too bad. So it shows Jason Statham, and he's following some lady, and she puts a head on a stick, and there's like, like literally, like if I'm here, right here, there's just a row of heads on sticks that nobody seemed to notice.
It is it's the very like Peacemaker missing the Nazi model,
it's very like right there.
Man. It's so prominent.
He goes up to it and he sees Pam Grier's head. She's been killed. That's why I'm saying, like, it's funny to bring Pam Grier into this, and then
I
like,
know
not
this like
really
major star,
right?
Yeah,
especially because like Pam Grier, like she would have been a great police chief. Like she's known for being tough, you know, coffee, but nothing. She's not used at all. She's just used to hit on Natasha Henstridge. And so then he like follow, and it's a really cool scene because we see the top of the mountain he's on, and he's like crawling to it, and then we see that there's guys underneath, and this is where we see all the zombies, and they're led by the zombie leader who
looks like Jonathan Davis from Korn.
Yes, he looks like he's headlining Lollapalooza or like the Warped Tour. He looks like he's headlining Warped Tour in 1997. He's like all white, and he has real long hair, which is hilarious. And he's like, oh, and here's another funny thing. So once they they were supposed to talk.
Oh, their voices are.
But once they put on the makeup, the main guy couldn't pronounce vowels. So John Carpenter was just like, oh, just talk like that, and it'll be the Martian. It'll be
language.
At least that's what IMDb says.
Insane. It is
it says Martian language.
So everyone talks like, ah, blah, blah, blah. And so Jason Statham is watching them.
Crazy.
And again, like the story is that they've all turned into monsters and they're killing people, and they've killed everyone in the town. But also sometimes they take prisoners just to kill them in another ceremony that they're having right now.
Yeah, they do weird stuff. Yeah,
he brings out a prisoner, and they're like, oh, I'll tell you, you know who he looks like? He looks like someone from the hit movie of 2025. Because he looks almost exactly like they dressed up. He looks like zombie Tron Ares, Jared Leto.
Oh,
which is very trippy, because I was like, oh, is that Jared Leto? And he has a cult. He's killing people. I mean, who's this based
30 seconds
on?
to go
30
to Mars.
seconds to go to Mars.
30 seconds to Mars. Oh my god, we just uncovered a conspiracy.
We got it.
I will say this is because the movie pretty boring up to this point. But this is fine. This is finally where it justifies its hard new metal soundtrack, because it really does start to like go hard after this.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about.
Climbing up that hill for the first time, for sure.
Yeah, you're like, okay, this matches. You know?
Jason Statham is looking. This guy is giving some kind of RNC
rally cry
speech on top of a bus. They're bringing out bodies for him to kill. And the music the whole time is like dun 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 dun, and like it keeps cross fading between the guy like screaming, his face and his mouth, where he's not talking at all. Him killing people, and it's just like it's all crossfade. And I was like, this movie is the best movie ever made. And then people started talking.
I was on fire during this scene.
And like I wanted them to cut to Jason Statham, and he's just in front of Natasha Henstridge, and he's like da 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 da, and then they cut off some other guy's head, ba 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 ba, and she's like, "Okay, man, I don't know what you're talking about, really."
Like, so then, don't you worry.
So then they find some other, and so then they're like, "Okay, well, let's just leave those guys alone." They don't really.
He's like,
they don't know
out.
We're here.
He finds a little space shed where there are 3 men.
There's 3 men, yeah.
Right. Normal men.
Uno, dos, and tres.
They're like, come on in. Then they get him, and they're like, who are you? He's like, who are you? And they're like, well, let me tell you our flashback. You know, let's get into our backstory. And then they explain more about the takeover.
Yeah. And what does he say, Josh?
He says, that sounds right awful. I don't know what he says.
Well, tell us his backstory, dummy.
Not his opinion.
What happened to them?
I don't even remember.
Like, what were they, like, doing?
Yeah.
Well, because they tell
right now, I want you to describe the movie on our movie podcast. I don't know if you got confused somewhere along the line. But yes, that is the question that I'm asking. But I don't think we see their flight. I think they just say that they got trapped there. They were driving and they got trapped. They
basically say they weren't at the colony, but then they kind of like came back to it. But then it does show you when it all starts to kick off, like how they kind of see like what was where people are like, oh, I'm like cutting up. Because at first they're like, oh, people were like kind of sick. And then they're like, oh, no, but then they started killing each other. Yeah. And then they would kill anyone who wasn't crazy.
It's also funny because in that flashback, and the reason I said that is 2 things. First of all, we don't see the whole flashback, which we're going to find out why in a second. Second of all, it's very funny because it's like a guy and he's walking and he's like... And then as soon as he turns into the monster, he's like... And it's like, no one else is walking like that, buddy. I think you just wanted to do this little move.
But the 3 guys telling that story are in that scene.
No.
So you guess, like, they're just... But that would have been a good... like, if you were for real doing a Rashomon, it would be good to be like, oh, they're in the scene, and then you see what they really did, because they're lying to it somewhat, you know? But the movie's not.
Listen, buddy, you know what would have been good is if NBA Jams had won a little bit easier, okay? And so then they all get to... They're like, oh, we have one more prisoner we need to take out. And then the guys are like, oh, prisoner? Is it Desolation Williams? And they take out their guns. They're like, we're actually his gang. So that's why we didn't see all of their flashback, because they were lying. But yes, it would have been better to show them. Like, if you're going to use this story structure, then use it. Don't, like, be lazy.
Right.
But that's not the point. And then they're like... And then in a very hilarious turn of... There's some parts of this movie that gets by with Looney Tunes logic, and this is one of them. So they take all the guards, and they're like, let him out. And so they open the fence, and then they all go give him a hug at the same time.
And
then Natasha Henstridge just closes the door. And she's like, and then he's like, hey, we're gonna kill you. And she's like, okay, you're just gonna be stuck here then. I hope you die.
In your zombie colony. And she puts them next to a cardboard box with cheese, and it has like the string, and she's waiting to pull it.
She paints a tunnel, and they all run into it and crash. Except for Desolation Williams, he actually goes through the tunnel, and she's like, what? He would be the roadrunner in this situation. And also their names are Uno, Dos, and Tres. And only one of them is Mexican for some reason. Or Hispanic in any way. But they're all pretty cool. I like these guys. They're just kind of like lunkheads. But also the other cool thing is that then she's like, okay, I'll let you guys out, but you all got to help me. And you have to listen to my orders. And they're like, okay. So let me just redo the chain of events. They meet these 3 guys. They say, if you help us, we will let you out, and we all have to survive because there's monsters outside. And then they're like, okay, we'll do it. Then they capture them. Then they get captured again. And then they're like, okay, if we let you out, you have to help us because there's monsters outside. So essentially there's a 10-minute stretch where nothing changes, but like 3 things change and none of it matters whatsoever.
Right.
So I think this whole part of the movie is like, oh, go for it.
Oh, I just wanted them to cut to the judge, and the judge is like, "You don't have to say that part."
Yeah, exactly.
that was pointless. You don't have to tell us everything. Like, skip a little bit.
Right. This whole like getting ready for action section, like even like what we're about to talk about in a second, it was just incomprehensibly boring. Like until like an action scene happens, and I like didn't watch this movie for like I feel like 15 minutes, like just accidentally. Like I was watching it, but I was just like not absorbing anything, and then I realized it. I was like, oh god.
Here's another crazy thing is that there's a part where she punches Ice Cube and you could tell this is like the best scene in the movie because it's in every trailer. He's like, "Damn girl, I'm starting to like you already," and then he punches her out.
Yeah.
That's the so only time that there's only like a couple of times where Ice Cube gets to show any kind of personality, and like if he had kept his Ice Cube personality, like he didn't even have to act. If he had just act like Ice Cube instead of like a Snake Plissken ripoff, this movie would have elevated like 10 times because it's every other scene when they're talking is like, "Gotta kill these ghosts. I guess you're a ghost hunter. Well, Mama never said not to hunt ghosts." It's like, are you guys gonna talk like human beings, or even like have any fun with this Ghost of Mars movie that we're filming?
This is something that a lot of sci-fi movies like kind of. This is like a mistake they fall into where because you're not on like Earth and like working a normal job, but you don't act like a normal person. Where it's no, you'd still just be some guy. Like you would still like have like hopes and dreams and stuff. You wouldn't all be Snake Plisskens. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Especially like because like the girl, they've kind of established that it's a little bit of a Starship Trooper situation where if you do military service for the 2 years, your life is you're a better type of citizen in the hierarchy of the situation. Right. So it's like you would assume that all these people are just normal people who just want a better life, you know. But it doesn't matter. Also, I forgot to say this. In that scene when Jason Statham is like going to see the monsters, if you guys watch this movie and watch it just for this scene, look at how Jason Statham runs because it's clearly an uneven hill. And so if you watch it, he runs like this the whole time up the hill, and it's the most hilarious thing I've ever. Because he's also wearing like huge Nazi boots because everyone's dressed like a fascist, and so it's just like, hey guys, maybe put them in like regular clothes next time. I don't know. Yeah. And so then they find out that the Martians are like trying to lure the humans out, and so they're blowing up every building so they can avenge. Oh well, no. Then Natasha Henstridge gets hit with the thing.
Right. Yeah,
they fight some of them.
Oh my god!
And they fight a bunch of them.
Into her.
Yeah, they goes like a mono gun battle, sort of. It was weird.
That's one of the things. So they find out they're blowing up sections, and so they're like, "Well, let's go stop them." Then they go fight them, and then like they kill a bunch of them, and one of them goes into Natasha Henstridge, and they're like, and then they're all looking over her. Oh, and then they kill the brother too, and like he gets it, and Ice Cube has to kill him, and so then Natasha Henstridge are like, "No, it can't happen to her," and Ice Cube's like, "I lost a brother," and I'm like, "Oh, there's actual character stuff. Good job, guys." And then Jason Statham's like, and then Ice Cube's like, "What's this?" And Jason Statham's like, "Oh, that's the drug she takes." So then he takes out a pill or whatever she takes, and he puts it in her mouth, and he's like, "That's gonna really mess up those ghosts."
Yeah, they are not gonna.
I think you just killed her, dude.
I love the idea, like, you're performing an exorcism, you're like, well, what if we give her a bump? Maybe the spirits don't like that.
Like, Ice Cube tells Cleo Duvall, he's like, I don't think we should do that. And it cuts to Jason Statham just pouring them in her mouth. They have to, drag him away. He's like, she's gonna take them all. And so then we find out that this is the poor... And, like, again, let me remind you that my friend John Carpenter, the best director of all time, he enjoys himself a little drug called marijuana. So that's why we find out that this movie is very pro-druggy because the drug actually works to get rid of the ghost.
Yeah.
And the ghost like can't handle the drug. And then it cuts to Natasha Henstridge and she's like, "Yeah, seems like whatever my spirit had was able to fight him off. It's like your spirit was high and it killed whatever was
Yeah.
inside your body.
See,
it had nothing to do with your will.
In a better movie, this would instantly cut to all of them just hotboxing like the cargo room.
That's
so
the
they're
other
ghosts
thing.
to me.
Like, why don't they all start taking the drugs? They know it's going to protect them, and they know that sometimes it goes and gets you, but it doesn't matter. And so then they're all, and then so then she gets back into the building, and there's a very long scene where like they're holding the gun at her, and they're like, "Is it really her?" And she's like, "I'm talking." They can't talk.
Right.
They can only say vowels.
Do I look like I'm in a corn video?
Like, I don't have the corn
My face
hair,
isn't all
guys.
cut up. Yeah, like I'm literally not trying to kill you. I think that should be good.
Right.
And so then they let her back in, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna stay here."
Yeah.
And then it cuts to out. Then they look at a video screen, and it shows all the monsters, and they're like, "Blah blah blah blah," and they're like, "Oh my god!" They build a battering ram, and I'm like, "How do they build things when they just talk in like yells and grunts? Like, what are they like? What grunt means hammer over here? Like in the Martians talk, you know? Or maybe they speak telepathically." But they, and then she's like, when I was
hive mind.
She was like, and this is again the perfect opportunity. But she's like, "Oh, by the way, guys, when I was stoned out of my mind and possessed by a demon ghost, I found out that these guys are actually the indigenous population of Mars, and so they're just trying to get rid of us because we're technically the invaders." And nobody's like, "Oh yeah, we are." And she's like, "So they're just gonna they're gonna do everything they can to kill us." And like nobody there's like, "Yeah, buddy, I'm sure that's exactly what they're trying to do. Tell us more about your drug-infused revelations."
Yeah, your ecstatic religious experience.
Yeah. Like the only person who'd be falling for that is Joe Rogan.
Right.
You should be like, "Yeah, man, then on Mars there's ghosts and they take over your body." Pull it up, Jamie.
The digital elves, no.
So then they have a battering ram, and so they're like, "Okay, well the train's coming, so let's just get on the train." And then they all get on the train, and then they're like, "What took you guys?" Because they have fights. And then this is also where we find out that the oh no, we haven't found that out yet. So they're all like, "Let's get on the train." They get on the train and they're leaving, and then Natasha Henstridge's like, "We should probably go back and kill all those monsters." And they're like, "Oh, we can blow up the nuclear thing and it'll become a nuclear bomb." And then this is also a funny part because she goes, "How do we blow up the nuclear reactor?" And they're like, "Well, you got to get in there and pull out the rods and then do blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "Hey, John, don't actually give us a realistic version of how a nuclear reactor works when we're on Ghosts of Mars again." Every once in a while, he just adds something super science accurate, and it's like, why? Why did you do that?
Right.
It'll really hard pivot. No, but when they're on the train, because then they have to like fight them on the train too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this movie was me thinking like, okay, this isn't a good movie, but it would be a good video game, which is maybe why John Carpenter was drawn to it. And then I realized like, oh, this is just Gears of War. Gears of War is this.
It is Gears of War.
Right.
Also ends with you fighting zombies on a train to like blow up something, you know?
And much like Gears of War, I was just waiting for the story parts to end so I could see them shooting.
Right.
Monsters.
They just needed to give them chainsaw guns.
Yeah.
And so then they're like, let's all go back and let's kill them all. We'll blow up the nuclear reactor and blow them up. And they're like, okay, I guess. And so then they go. And literally everyone dies. They do such a bad job of staying alive.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, so Claire Duvall, who up until this point has been like the innocent person who's real nice to everyone. And so she's shooting. She's got 2 machine guns. She's like, bah, 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 bah. And then like now the monsters have throwing this. You see, we thought we were on the sci-fi November month, but I think we're on the throwing razor blade spinning discs month because so far every movie has had that.
Oh yeah, and Running Man too.
Yeah,
he does that. Yeah.
So they throw it, and Claire Duvall just shooting, and she ducks under 2 of them. She's like, "Yeah, like the Matrix," and she picks up her head, and then it cuts her head clean straight off. And it's like, why did she deserve that?
Right.
No one else is murdered that viciously.
Yeah.
And then Jason Statham takes, and it's also funny because you could tell this is pre-transporter Jason Statham because he's not very good at fighting. Like he's just kind of like
he's not like an action
and then
star.
they take him over.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's also another part where they meet when they go to the reactor. They meet the Jonathan Davis zombie, and they light him on fire. And you can tell that there's an actual dude on fire, which is really cool. But that long hair really does a disservice because it just looks like long hair on fire. Like it looks like when Michael Jackson caught on fire for the Pepsi commercial. And so it's not intimidating whatsoever. It looks like if someone with long hair got caught on fire, not necessarily a zombie with long hair, because he's like, no! Like, hey man, act like you've been there before. You cut up your whole face. Like you shouldn't be that much pain.
Right.
So then they eventually get on the train, but now it's only Ice Cube and Natasha Hendricks. And then the guys attack again. And so then Ice Cube has to like separate the front of the train from the back of the train.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not a future train. They didn't take a future train. They took a regular train and put it in the future. So he takes it off, and then there's a very cool scene that also looks like the ending of Back to the Future 3, where the monster's just in the train car. He's like, no! Yeah. And then it explodes. And then the nuclear explosion's so big that you can see it from orbit. And then it cuts to the guys on the train, and they're just like, whoa!
Yeah, they're like, that was close.
Sorry, guys listening on Apple Podcasts. This is a very visual-heavy podcast today.
Yeah.
Watch it on YouTube or Spotify. And so then it cuts back to her, and she's like, that's what happened. And they're like, well, we don't believe any of that.
Well, no, Ice Cube handcuffs her, and so he can escape.
Yeah,
and because then they're like, why'd you let him escape? She's like, oh no, he got away, like he slipped my grasp. And again, if this was Rashomon, it would be cool to see she let him go versus he like forced her to, but it's not that movie, you know. But yeah, anyway, the military tribunal's like, I don't know, sounds kind of fake, you're crazy.
But then they're like, woo woo woo, ghost coming.
Right. Yeah.
And then it cuts, and then Ice Cube comes. He like bursts open the door, and he has 2 guns. And he throws her a gun. He's like, gotta kill some more ghosts. And then it cuts to them leaving, and it ends, and they're like, you should be a cop. And she's like, he tells her, like, you'd be a real good criminal. And she tells him, you'd be a real good cop. And then they look at each other like, nah. And then they're like, let's just do what we do best.
Yeah.
Kick some ass. And I want it to be like, hey, guys, you are very bad at kicking. Like everyone on your team is dead, and not like your brother, your love interest. Oh, and then there's like, we didn't talk about this because it's so important, but there's a scene where Jason Statham's like, hey, come check this out. And she goes with him, and she's like, this is just a room. And he like closes the door. He's like, we should bone before we die. And she's like, yeah, we probably should. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that works for the first time ever in a movie.
Only on Mars.
I'm telling you, I feel like John Carpenter added that because he saw how charming. Because as a kid, when I saw it the first time, I was like, oh, Jason Statham died?
This
is not a good character whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because you could totally see like him coming in at the end to save her. If it was Snake Plissken, you would be like, yeah, but you're like, this isn't earned.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, even if they had done the Rashomon thing where they showed her handcuffed, and then she was like, oh yeah, he handcuffed me to escape. And then it shows what really happened. And she handcuffs herself, and she's like, you better get out of here before we get to the station. Then that would have been like, oh, I see how they've come together. But like, even up until like two hours ago, they were still kind of not sure if they should trust each other. So suddenly they just trust each other really well.
Yeah.
I think like the problem with this movie is that this movie works really well as a comic book. Where you're like, if you read a comic book, you don't really need everything to make sense, you know? Like, oh yeah, now it goes into that guy or whatever. But as a movie, you're just constantly asking yourself, like, how does this work? Does this make any sense? Why does Jason Statham have hair? You know, just questions that you really shouldn't ask yourself.
Or like
I applaud you for knowing the whole plot.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Josh, say that again.
Just say.
Say that again on our movie podcast.
You don't analyze the plot in something like Gears of War just because you're like, oh, I like shooting zombie heads. But when it's a movie, you know, you're like, I should care about these characters, not just how fun it feels to like hack up a ghoul, you know.
Also, like, I'm gonna push back a little bit on the like, oh, this is supposed to be like a funny, fun one like one-off because honestly, the movie is dour. Like the way the characters act. Like I will say the only thing that they don't act like dour about is when anyone dies. They're just kind of okay with it. But like they're such bummers. It's like being with a bunch of like hall room monitors. They're like, yeah, I guess we'll stop those zombies. It's like, you should be scared.
That's what I was saying, like, because it's about like 40-ish minutes before the Zombie King, Jonathan Davis, shows up. Yeah. And until then, you're just like, oh, get to the point. Like, characters are not anything. You know?
I will give this movie 10 more points if John Carpenter does a director's cut. Where he doesn't change anything, but just the zombie, every time he yells, it goes, like from Down with the Sickness, like that's all I would have needed.
Want.
I think if and it's so funny because you see glimpses of like when Ice Cube turns his real personality on, when Jason Statham's actually charming. Even like there's a scene where Natasha Henstridge, once she comes out of the drug-induced haze and is able to act a little bit more like a human being, she actually does a really good job at acting. It's just like she can't play like this kind of like she can't play Arnold, and that's what they want her to play. Like she's famous for playing Species, where she like barely talks. Like she looks like an alien,
right? Like a personality.
Yeah. So it's like you should have worked with her and done something better. And I think it's just like you kind of want to like this movie, and it kind of feels like it's also funny because eventually we'll talk about how much this feels like John Carpenter's Vampires, where it's like, do you know that your characters should be likable? Like in The Thing, they're likable. I don't understand.
Right.
Like, and it's kind of been a problem that he's had almost since The Thing, because even in Prince of Darkness, whenever he has these siege movies, the problem is that like like with Prince of Darkness, with this one, and with Vampires, you're kind of like, I don't like any of these characters, so I don't like. You need Snake Plissken to like.
There's also like I think like kind of like making it this like sci-fi Mars colony is almost like, because like while I would not defend the movie Vampires, at least there's some fun in being like, oh, how would like a vampire in the modern world like live and exist, and like what would their life be like? Whereas in this you don't really get a sense of what their life is like, because it's just like Star Trek sets, and like no one has a personality.
Yeah,
you know? It's
and like
no one actually lives in this
there's
world.
no like fleshed out kind of feeling to it.
Well, and it's also the thing where like Natasha Henstridge, she gets to the camp and she's like, yeah, these guys should either be doing drugs or having sex with prostitutes. It's like, oh, I don't care if they live or die then. They sound like bad criminals.
Yeah.
I mean,
such a bleak
you can like do the amoral, like The Expanse is kind of like that, where it's like everyone lives in space and they're all like amoral degenerates, but it's like, okay, but it's still like a human drama, whereas this is just like
and I think the problem is
show that negatively affecting
in this one, it's not just that they're like that, it's not just that they're amoral, but it's also like I don't think the movie knows they're amoral. Like so much of it is used just as window dressing, where like if you are like Escape from New York is Escape from New York is a good example, where they're all criminals on the island, but as you get to know them, like you have Isaac Hayes, who's just like a legit criminal, but you have the girl who kind of got stuck over there, and now she's having to live in this hellhole. You have the taxi driver who's making the most of it, and who is kind of a degenerate, but he's not like trying to hurt anyone. He just lives in this world.
Yeah.
And then you have Snake Plissken, who he's a killer, but he kills people based on his own code or whatever. He doesn't ever kill innocent people. And so you have all these different personalities, where here it's like everyone's kind of a gross person, but also they don't have any backstory to make you understand why they're like that. So it's like, what do you want us to get out of this, Carpenter? And if it's just having fun, well, I don't know, maybe put some fun in it.
Yeah, make it sillier, make it like a little bit more loose. I don't know.
What?
Like there were some glimpses of fun. Like I definitely had some fun like watching some of the battles, and like it was enjoyable in like kind of like a dumb way, and like it's hard to like watching it for a podcast because we're gonna have to have like something to talk about. It's like there wasn't really that much there,
and
like as a Saturday morning movie or something, it's like it's fine. It's like okay.
Yeah, it's not like, and that is kind of the tough thing, is it's not really a movie that you should discuss on a podcast.
if you put it on in the background while you're like cleaning your house, you'll be like, oh, that was okay.
It's perfect. You know? Yeah,
you'll be like, wait, she's in a military trial. It's like, is this the same movie?
Wonder how that's going for her.
You're like, wait, is that Jason Statham?
Wonder how her story sounds.
Yeah, but it was okay. I would say check it out, but yeah,
it is on.
I think this is a classic example of like John Carpenter's imagination just kind of like outreaching what he can actually pay for and do, and like to like even like in what's the movie? I can't think of the name, with Sam Neill.
Mouth of Madness.
Yes. Like that movie, like, you know, the special effects are pretty cool, but he could have done so much more with that if he had like an extra $100 million. Right. You know, but that movie is like still so interesting, like on the script
like
level,
Sam Neill's just
that it totally works, and you're so there for it. Yeah. But this one, it's like, I think even Ice Cube said that he hated this movie because they didn't have enough money for the effects that they wanted to actually do. And so it's like, I feel like that's kind of like John Carpenter's weird thing. It's like he can either really work with a limited budget and make something super sick that you wouldn't expect, or it kind of blows up in his face.
It's like
and this was more of a blow up in your face. Yeah. Didn't quite work.
Yeah. And I think especially like it just, I don't know. I think you're right. Like when you hear the story of Escape from New York and you watch the movie, like as an adult, you're kind of more like, if you know in production, you're like, okay, I kind of know how they skirted around the fact that they couldn't use all of New York, you know? But for the most part, the movie works, and it does feel like a prison in New York. Where you watch this, and it's very clear you're on the set, you're looking at artificial stuff, and so it makes it harder. And I think it's also has something to do with it's shot like a TV show, where I think if they had lit it
lighting
correctly,
and stuff as well.
It might have worked
horror
a little
lighting
better.
kind of. Yeah. It's like, why is Pandora killing you on this? You know.
Yeah.
And if Jonathan Davis had sung a little bit.
Yeah.
If they had been more,
if he had come out and it was like, oh man, that movie where the guy comes out dancing to music. If they had just played it up like that, like silly style,
right?
Yeah.
You know that movie we all know
about.
Know.
Great job. Well, we've already gone over an hour, so we're gonna cut it off.
Wrapping it up. Wrapping it up.
Check it out. Check out Ghost of Mars on the Roku channel. That's where you can watch it for free.
Our Criterion Collection.
Yeah. No one pays for that except
check it out. All right, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.